Alright, today we talk about the meaning of sponsorship. And this is a topic I think I'm really excited to talk about because, in coaching, it's sort of easy to just think we're like, I don't know, like when you're recruiting sponsor, you just want to sign up as many people as possible just because you want to grow your business and add everyone you know. And I think early on, you feel like anyone who's willing to bite, you want to invite them in and set them up and have them be in your team and your downline. But I think what can be really exciting about this business is that you can really grow a team, a group of people that have the same passions as you, that, click with you, that you could be lifelong friends with. Now, don't get me wrong, you will have people on your team that you probably won't be that friendly with. You'll get along and you'll be able to help them, but they'll probably do their own thing, and that's fine. Maybe they'll grow their own big business. That's totally cool. But a good chunk of the people in your team you're probably going to get really close with, and you're going to get to know each other on a much deeper level than you probably know anyone else really in your life other than maybe your spouse or your family or your best friend or something. And I think that's really cool that, the potential of meeting strangers that are just like on the same wavelength as you, that you can have these deep, meaningful connections with, is pretty awesome. And the fact that you guys can work together to help make people healthy and to, end the trend of obesity and really help people learn to be confident again and learn to dream big again, that's really exciting to me. So I suggest, even though it's really easy early on when you're really struggling to grow your team at first to sort of go after everybody, I do encourage you to really try to find people that you want to work with and that you could see yourself working with and that, you can be friends with, and you see their potential, you see that they have it in them to do great things and to do meaningful things, and that they are genuine and earnest and just passionate and compassionate. Because I think, you add people like that to your team, even if it takes longer, your team as a whole will be so much more powerful and so much more, rich and full of interesting experiences and interesting personalities and just interesting knowledge and interesting attributes. And I think there's something a lot more fun about having a group of people to work with that, want to be here and that have just these amazing backstories and these amazing transformations inside and out that you can all share and benefit from together. So I really encourage you to think highly, about what you want your team to be like and what kind of people you want to have on your team, so that when you're going out there inviting or giving the opportunity out, you know what to look for and you know what you'd like to connect with. Now, on the flip side, you should still stay open-minded because you never know who might not seem like the ideal candidate who could turn out being your new best friend and be like the most amazing coach on your team. So be open, but I think if there's certain things you see in people that you're like, what, that's not the vibe that I want to give out of my team, then that's okay. And keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you're talking to people, because coaching does get really personal. And I think being able to connect on a personal level with your coaches is important. And if you guys just don't jive, then maybe they're not the ideal fit for your team. So aside from that, I think it's good to kind of have role models in the business. There's a lot of top-notch coaches who are very successful and they're very good at what they do. They don't just earn a lot, but they're good at what they do, and there's a reason they're successful. And there's a whole host of them out there, and they're all different. And I think I know personally for me, it's been very valuable to find coaches to look up to who I think personify what I want to be, what I want to be like in this business, what kind of team I want to grow. And it's helped to give me ideas and inspiration and hope, which, on days where you're struggling to get anyone to talk to you or you don't get any responses to your follow-ups, it's kind of nice to have somebody to look up to and say, okay, you know what, they dealt with struggles too, I'll get there. So I encourage you to look around if you haven't already, look around Facebook, look around Instagram, go in your Coach Online office where there's, all sorts of lists for top recruiters, top producers, the elite leaderboard, all these places to look for coaches that are doing big things in this business, and then look them up, get to know them, look up their blogs, look up their YouTube channels, see if there are connections you can make with them. What I often find is the coaches that I look up to the most are often the coaches that, you know, had I not signed up with my upline, I would probably sign up with this coach. And I think that's a good thing, because that means there's something in them that clicks for me and excites me about this business and about coaching. And, you know, I look at them as role models. So my personal role models in this business are Scotty Hobbs, because he's so generous with his training and his information, and he's so passionate about this business, and it's just, he seems so down to earth, which I think is so lovely. And even though, you know, he lives in a very different world than I do, he's got kids, got a family, lives in a different part of the country, but there's just something so sincere and so friendly about him, and I think that's a great way to be. And the fact that he is so generous with all his trainings and all his information, I think, is also a really nice sign of just wanting to help everyone. And Janelle Summers is another one of my role models. She is just, again, also really generous with information, but just very sweet, very welcoming, very, you know, open to just connecting with everybody. Like, I've even exchanged messages with, like, private messages with her, and she's always so quick to get back to me. And that really struck me about her, because she's, you know, a 15-star diamond. She's probably got thousands of people really in her downline, and she still gets back to messages from somebody who's not even in her network within like a day, you know. And she's a sweetheart. She's consistent. She doesn't pretend to be perfect, or she doesn't, you know, let her success go to her head. She's still very down to earth and very just sweet and generous and very passionate and compassionate. And I always thought that was just, like, she's really easy to follow and like, because she just seems so normal and so humble. And I think that's another quality that I really think is so great, especially for somebody really successful, to still be very humble. I think that's, like, perfect. So Christine Dwyer is another one. Also very, you know, skilled coach, superstar diamond, incredibly successful. She's sort of more, what's a good way of describing it? Not in your face, but I think she's very frank. I think she's very honest. I think she doesn't deal with BS a lot, and I think that's really cool, because I often am myself in that way, that I don't just beat around the bush. I like to get straight to the point, and I think she's very cool with that. I think she's very skilled and very talented. And she's also built an amazing network of other very successful coaches, and her own sort of brand, kind of like ours is Team Ted Fitness, hers is Platinum Presenters, and it's just been such an amazing network to watch, because they have this beautiful, you know, training website. They have a great system of training all their incoming coaches and showing the coach opportunity, and just supporting each other. You know, at this point, her network is so big that they have their own sort of mini summit almost, and that's huge to me, because I would love to have that. I would love to build that kind of network and to have people thriving in my downline. And I think it's great, because she doesn't just sit atop all that success and let it go to her head and go, okay, I don't have to do anything now. She still works. You know, she's a master trainer, so she goes out there, she does training, she does all these different things. She puts out free videos, like, you know, she doesn't quit. She's still doing the daily grind and helping other people learn how to do that. And I think that's really cool, because, again, she's generous with her knowledge. She's not, you know, she's still humble, she's still smart about it. I think that's really some serious attributes to look up to. So another coach that I'm really a big fan of is Melissa McAllister. And much for the same reason as these other people, she's very, very successful. I mean, she's in the $1 Million Earners Club. You know, could just sit back, put her feet up, and not do squat. But she's still super sweet, super humble, active, you know, has built a really great, passionate team, generous with her information. I think you see a theme here of what I find at least attractive in top coaches, and what kind of things I hope someday maybe somebody will say about me. Or at least, not so much that. Someday I hope that I have these attributes and they're as evident as they are for these people. And, you know, a lot of them have been in the business longer than I have, and it really gives me hope for things that I could accomplish and the type of person that I could become as a coach in this business. So I highly encourage you to really go find the role models that speak to you. There's so many successful coaches out there, and they all come from every walk of life. I mean, you know, there's parents, there's single moms, single dads, there's people who don't have kids, there's people from all over the country, people, there's even top coaches who live in Japan. I mean, there's coaches who live on military bases, there's coaches who come from being two-time college dropouts to being successful lawyers. I mean, there's really a range of people out there of all ages, all ethnicities, all upbringings, all, types of ups and downs, successes and failures, all sorts of physical transformation stories. So really there's somebody out there for everybody. And I highly encourage you to go and really find, the 3 to 5 people that you can look up to and you can follow, and then watch them. See what they do, because they're not desperate at this point. So they're only going to do things that work. And they've also had many years of experience, so they know what works and what doesn't. And not that every single little thing is going to work for you exactly, but it's great for ideas, and it's great to see, this person never does this, so maybe it's a good idea for me to never do that. Or this person always does this, maybe I should get in the habit of doing that as well. So that's really the lesson for today is, find some role models in this business and follow them. Follow them on social media. Connect with them. They're all human beings. Most of them will be happy to talk to you. So you can always reach out to them. Even if you're not in their downline, it's okay. You can still reach out to them and say, hey, I really appreciate what you put out there, and thank you for, being you're a role model of mine, and I just want to say thank you. And, pay attention to what they do. Because there's probably little clues that they leave behind that you can apply to your business, whether it's today or, once you have a bigger team underneath you. These are things you can start applying. So definitely find some role models in this business, because they will give you inspiration and they will give you hope. And those are 2 very powerful things in this business. So that's it for today.